Hello guys and welcome back to The Mole episode 9, and I have finally seen the last two episodes, so you guys are free to put whatever you want in the comment section down below. I would probably save your finale thoughts for the finale episode, which I will be doing soon, but if you want to post them here, who am I to stop you? But this episode threw me and my friend through a loop. We were so confused. We were so blown away by how it panned out that going into the finale, we were like, hang on a minute. It quite literally could be anybody. There were prime suspects, there were people who we were not so suspicious on, and there were people that we were like, surely they've got to be a mole. Otherwise, like, come on. It's a bit ridiculous, surely. But that is all coming up in this episode, so make sure you stick around and let's get into it, shall we? So, the episode started with the whole, what did Hannah pick, with the magic boxes, the mystery boxes, what was underneath them. We saw in the last episode that she did choose the one with £20,000 underneath it, or dollars, or whatever it's called. And I was impressed. I was like, wow, she managed to get it straight away. But then she was given the option of changing the box, going again and trying to get the final exemption in the game. Honestly, it kind of blew me away that she decided to stick with the money. That surprised me. I really thought she would try and go for the exemption, especially with a double elimination coming up. However, I'm glad that she didn't, because this team has been in dire need of getting over the 100k mark, and with the 20k that Hannah brought back to them, they managed to raise over $104,000 for them to win at the end of the competition. However, that did make some people a little bit suspicious of Hannah. Did she do this on purpose? Especially when there's an exemption up for grabs. There's a double elimination coming up and she doesn't go for the exemption. Is that because she's actually going to get through the quiz very easily because she knows who it is? Or is it because she's actually trying to blend in and she's actually the mole? And she doesn't need to take the quiz, so she doesn't need the exemption. She's already had one exemption, so she doesn't need another to prove herself as not the mole. It was an interesting theory. Ultimately, I deemed it wrong. I thought Hannah was absolutely fine. I think she's been fine this entire time. I have more trust in her than currently anybody else there. Maybe Diana. But, yeah, let's move on to the double elimination. So, this double elimination threw me through a loop. It confused the hell out of me because I have been on the train of Ryan, Sean, or Michael for a long time. Sean as early as the first episode, Michael as early as the second episode, and Ryan as early as the third or fourth episode. I think it's the fourth episode, actually. So I've had suspicion on those three for a long time. And going into this, I really felt like at least one of them was going to go home and Diana was going to go home. Because I was sure that Hannah and Muna would make it through. But then I was like, one of my suspects has got to go, surely, for it to narrow down. Like, surely someone has to go. And go they did. Ryan was actually the one to go. And that shocked me. Genuinely shook me to my core, because I have been speaking very, very openly and honestly about the fact that I really, really think it is Ryan, and how I thought that it was Ryan, and how I thought that Ryan was the mole. Literally, that's all I kept saying for the last couple of episodes. Ever since she made that sneaky move in the gala episode, she's been on my radar. Then there was like a couple of dodgy moves and another challenge that made me go, the Big Ben statue was a weird, weird thing. And, like, also the fact that whenever she was making these sabotages, she never actually mentioned it in her sort of confessionals. So it always just felt like it was happening underhand. But I gotta say, I think she did a decent job overall. I'm just fuming because she seemed so mole-ish with her behaviour. Like, I was genuinely so... What? Huh? Yeah, I don't know. Ryan... I cannot get over the you said blue, so I cut yellow. That whole situation, I really just can't get over that. I don't think I ever will, because I think that might be, if they'd have just gone, oh yeah, we did it to be molish, I'd have been like, fair enough. But we didn't even see any confessionals like that. They were like, oh, you said blue, so I cut yellow. Uh-huh. The common sense is not common sensing there. So Ryan was the first person to go, and unfortunately Deanna was the second. Again, this is just further proof to me that it isn't Muna and it isn't Hannah, because Ryan seemed to gear some of her answers towards Hannah, and obviously, what's her face? Deanna was gearing some of her answers towards Muna. So I just feel like at this point, those two are very much in the clear. But that does leave us with Michael and Sean. Michael and Sean are now the two that I was picking between. Again, you guys in the comment section were like, oh, I think it's too obvious if it's Sean. And I was like, I get what you mean, but like, I just can't overlook certain things that he's done. I just can't. And it was really, really frustrating to me that, yeah, it's just frustrating because I was sitting there like, I really don't know which way to go with this. So, the challenge in this episode was bullshit, if I'm being 100% honest. I thought it was really, really stupid, and I thought it was really, really boring. In some respects. I feel like the challenges this series have been fun, but they haven't quite been as energetic and as exciting as the previous season. The previous season had some fantastic challenges. I think this one's had some good ones, but I don't think they're as memorable as the first series. So I was very, very confused about how this was going to work. Essentially, they had to work out which artifacts were real and fake. There were 2 real ones, and they had to suspend someone using a pulley system over the artifacts to get them to pick up the artifacts, look, see whether they're fake or genuine, avoid dropping them and breaking the wire, the lasers. If they dropped 3, then they were out, and every time they dropped 1, they lost 2,000 from the amount of money that they won. So obviously, in my head, I was sitting here going, and my friend said the exact same thing, put Hannah up there. Hannah is the lightest person, or looks to be the lightest person. Could be Muna, I don't know. But Hannah looks to be the lightest person. Therefore, she will be the easiest to lift and hoist. Who did they pick? Michael. Oh. And this is nothing nasty about him or nothing mean about him. But he is the heaviest person there. He's the tallest. He's the biggest. He's the heaviest. It's just facts. I'm sorry. You can't tell me that any of the others are heavier than him, because I just don't think they are. So why would they choose to put him in the harness and push and pull him when he's going to be notoriously difficult to maneuver? Hannah called it out immediately. She was like, hang on a minute. This isn't right. What's going on here? What is happening in this here place? Because this is not okay. And I was like, absolutely, I completely agree, because this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, it is. It's just completely dumb. So anyway, the challenge got well underfoot, and Michael was just so annoying in this challenge. He really, really, really wound me up, because I was sitting here and I was like, right, Michael, all you got to do is just keep your legs at a bit of an angle to stop them from dangling and hitting any of the artifacts, okay? I think all 3 of the artifacts that dropped were because of his feet. And he just kept on being like, oh. One of them, he picked up with his feet and then was like, I don't know what to do with it now. And then just let it drop. The second one, he knocked off. And the third one was just an absolute nightmare of a, oh God, it was painful to watch. But also, you had Muna, who was just, I don't know how the pulley system works. And I thought that was just her trying to be suspicious, but not being the mole, if that makes sense. I didn't think she was the mole because of that. But Michael, every single action he takes, I'm just more and more convinced that he's the mole. Because, I'm sorry, it's jarring now. There comes a point where it gets jarring. and you're just doing it for the sake of it. You should be wanting to get money. I'm sorry, but you should. Especially when these artifacts were worth 30,000 each. 30,000 each. And they only managed to get one. And because they dropped 3 artifacts, they lost 6 grand. So they only made 24 grand out of this, which left them with 129,000. And I just think they could have got so much more. They could have been on 150k by now. Which is so frustrating. It's so frustrating. It really started to wind me up, and I was getting so agitated and angry with this challenge. I was 100% on Hannah's side, and that's how I know that Hannah's not the mole, because she was getting just as frustrated as I was. So we are finishing up the episode. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but this was a shorter episode anyway. So we are going to be starting with the final elimination. Oh god, this was where Avery left in the last series. Avery was my favourite. She was so entertaining all season long, and I was really worried that Hannah was going to be Avery'd and taken out literally at the last minute, and I was right. Oh, I was so upset when I was right. Oh, I literally said to my friend, because we went for a run in the morning, I said to her, I bet Hannah's going to go home at the end of the 9th episode. She's going to come 4th. And I'm going to be so angry and upset. I'm going to be so upset because she made it all the way to the end and she probably just lost by 1 mark. And that's so frustrating, so annoying. Oh, God, I'm over it. I'm over this show. No, I'm not. I love it. It's amazing. And I want more of it. This is kind of what I feel like the traitors should be, if I'm being 100% honest. I think there are ways around not showing their identity. I think it would make it so much more fun if we're sitting here week after week or episode after episode trying to solve the puzzle at the same time as the faithfuls, and everyone's like, oh, I'm a faithful, and we don't know literally until they are banished, and we're just watching absolute pandemonium. Imagine you're watching a round table and you don't know who you can trust watching it. Because when you're watching it and you're seeing the traitors get heat or you're seeing faithfuls get heat, it makes you feel a certain way. But imagine if you didn't know who anyone was and then they get banished and then they're like, I am a faithful, and you're like, ah! I really feel like it would actually make you root for the faithfuls a lot more. I really do feel like it would. Because if you believe that everyone's a faithful, you're on the faithful side. Whereas because you know who the traitors are, I always feel like I'm rooting for the traitors rather than I'm rooting for the faithfuls. But enough about the traitors. This is the mole. So yeah, that is pretty much the episode. That's it done. Going into the finale, me and my friend said our final prediction was Michael, but we still had suspicion on Sean. The only person we were clearing 100% was Muna. Because I feel like Muna's been team money for too much of this competition to actually warrant any suspicion on her. And if it is her, I'm going to need a detailed, this is what I did in every single challenge. Because otherwise I'm not going to believe that she's the mole. Because I don't think she's done anything mole-ish, personally. And I mean, you can say what you want about it. She did do some mole-ish behaviour in this challenge. She did do some mole-ish behaviour in the challenge before. But, like, was her forgetting a key or not realising that there were multiple keys mole-ish? I think it was just an innocent mistake, if I'm being honest. My opinion. That is it. So, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Doing all of them YouTube things that you guys do so well. But until then, keep on ranting. And I'll see you guys later. Bye now.